Today's material is going to deal with the season and how what we've been talking about the last few weeks, um, being truly who we are, okay, acknowledging it, accepting it, and then being aware of what's going on around us. Because when we work from our strengths, when we work from true, humble awareness of what our strengths and what our challenges are, we show up better for ourselves, for whatever the outcome is we want, and for any others who mean something to us. So last week, we talked about awareness, acknowledgement, and acceptance being the three key choices that we make that lead to us having to be who we truly are. That's often referred to also as our authentic self. I find authentic self an okay term, but it sounds a little, I don't know, a little, sometimes the feedback I get is, it feels beyond, what is authentic self? What does that mean to everybody? Just me as an ordinary person. What's authentic self? So we're going to drill down on that. Today's discussion is especially important, though, because of this being a heavily emotionally loaded time of year for many people. All right, I see a lot of nods. Some of us are excited, and we're expressing this in positive ways. Right? Others are still excited, but they're expressing it. You might be expressing it in excesses. Okay. Some of us now dread the now this season because of the guarantee of past reliably disruptive or traumatic experiences caused by others, especially if we were children and felt powerless, like somehow we were being held hostage to these looming events which are part of this season for many people. Some of us, myself included, are trying to establish alternative options to mitigate the longing for happier times. All right, happier times, past times, because for reality-based events, deaths, illness, people not being able to be available because of COVID, you can't have what you most need, which is that joining, that contact. And so I know COVID has disrupted a lot of people's need for contact with people who mean a lot to them. But keep in mind, we all have to hold on to the reality that we can only influence events. We can't, no matter how much we want them, no matter how much we pay, no matter how much we need it, we can't ever entirely control events. Okay, and we certainly can't control others and what they do, right? And it's folly to try to do that. But what we always have, all right, we always have ourselves, and we can manage that. And the best way to manage it is by being truly who we really are and committing to remaining aware of what we need. Don't just let it be a vague fog, a sensation, all right? We also are entirely capable. Sometimes that's the first warning bell. Then acknowledging that, what is the truth of what we need and don't need? What can we influence? What can we control about ourselves? What do we need to control about others who will interfere with us getting the best of what we need? All right, what can reasonably we do? And we can always set boundaries and limits. All right. Also, even beyond the behavior part, way upstream, acknowledging the truth of what we see, right? What we feel, trusting what we sense and what we hear, all right? And accepting both our strengths and our vulnerabilities. If we come to ourselves in truth about the good, the bad, and the indifferent, we really have an asset there that is always available to us. The other thing, while we're balancing that good, bad, and indifferent about ourselves, is to remember, no matter what is happening, no matter what part worth being loved, treated with respect and compassion. All right. Even when we miss the mark, even when we are dead to rights in the wrong, all right, accept the influence or the impact you've had on others and do your best to make up for it. But don't beat yourself up. We are all imperfect. The first thing, though, that we have to do is we have to start by giving ourselves the same thing. Right? If we're looking for it and our boundaries and limits are insisting on it, requiring it of others, does it make sense that we don't first and foremost have to do the same for ourselves? We have to treat ourselves with acceptance, acknowledgement, and acceptance by treating ourselves with the very same love, respect, compassion, and acceptance. You know, there's an old saying, and I have found it to be very true, and that is, we teach others how to treat us. And like everything else in life, that's also imperfect. And so are they, and so are we. We have something in common in that with the others in our life. So wherever you are, whatever your circumstances in this period, show up for yourself truthfully, as lovable, worthy, and imperfect as you are. All right? Accept that. Accept the imperfections. We can work on them, but they don't define us, and don't let them limit you. Because while we navigate this really emotionally loaded period of time and after, remember, awareness, which is the first step. You can't accept something you don't allow yourself to be aware of. It's just an impossibility. All right? Awareness begins with inquiry, with self-inquiry, by asking ourselves, what am I aware of? What is it? When did it start? Does it remind me of anything? Is it a familiar feeling? And if so, how familiar? Is it actually a pattern that I've been denying? Do you ever have that sensation, that thought, here I am again, and I don't think I liked it the last time? All right. The next question that yields really important clues to what we have to attend to. Attend to means wake up and pay attention to it. All right. Is to catch ourselves from ineffective or destructive automatic reaction. So if your automatic reaction is to get out your credit card and make yourself feel better by purchases, know that those things are substitutes for what you really need. And because they're substitutes, they can never, ever, ever meet the need. And so there will never be enough of them. So catch yourself when it's a thought and a response that you want to act on, and catch yourself then, so you don't have to pay a price, even if you can afford the credit card bill that's coming in January. Can you afford more stuff? Do you really need more stuff to process? All right, do you? Do you need that feeling again of, oh man, did it again? Do you need that? If you don't, choose a different behavior by making a different decision. And only if, okay, only if you also decide that the decision you make is one day at a time. I'm going to tell you a funny little story. I love all things lemon, and I'm trying to lose weight. All right. Trying to get myself back to my normal weight. And COVID's been wonderful to me. And I went on Amazon and I thought, Atkins. I'm not bad mouthing Atkins. All right. I'm not bad mouthing Amazon. I went on Amazon because I was looking for other things for people who needed a gift, and I wasn't going to go to the store with Omicron. And I thought, I wonder what Atkins treats there are, because, you know, when they're having dessert, I'm going to want to have something. Okay, you're not immune to this, and I don't know it. And so there I was, and I was coming up, oh, they have lemon squares. Now, I've already made the lemon square mistake in the past. Right? Remember, I love all things lemon. And I found myself hitting the button. In fact, I had 5 boxes because there were going to be lots of opportunities over Christmas and New Year's, right? How was I going to celebrate? I was going to celebrate with lemon. And there was this little, followed by, what have you done? So what I did was I made myself aware. Okay, was that your best choice? Really and truly, that was your best choice? And part of me, I call my shoulders Frick and Frack, okay? And Frack is the one who gets you into trouble. Frick is the one who's got great ideas that don't always pan out, all right? And so Frick was saying, yeah, listen, you need desserts, you know, like, and like they're ideal for what you're trying to do. You know that you can have just one, you know? Okay. Frack was saying, has that ever worked in the past? They're lemon. Wake up. So I went to bed and I still had that awareness, okay? And then I hit a moment of acknowledgement, followed quickly by acceptance. And I leaned over and I took my cell phone off the bedstand, turned on the light, and canceled the order. You're not alone. It just takes different, we're all human. We are all imperfect. We are all vulnerable to the things we are. Show up for yourself. Why? Because you're worthy. Because you're lovable. But first you have to love yourself in tangible, realistic ways, right? And then you have to accept and have compassion. Now I can tell you that story because I have compassion for myself. I know that I have a soft spot, and I know that it probably will happen again. And now I know how to cancel an order. All right. Okay, so what action do you need to take? Because if we don't catch ourselves in time, okay, and give ourselves whatever we need. I personally have Frick and Frack, and they serve me reasonably well. All right. I never want to hear from Frack. Okay, Frack would be the last phone call I would pick up if it was real. But I have to listen. I have to listen and acknowledge the truth. All right. If we don't catch ourselves in time, we give ourselves whatever we need in the moment, but that avoids us being able to make a better choice. So give yourself what you need: acknowledgement, acceptance, all right? Because these reactions and decisions, the ones that are default, that are automatic, they will only lead to the same results. So when Frick was telling me, you know what? You deserve desserts. Look, you learn from the past. You know, it's up to you. You're in charge. You'll only have one. Big lie. All right. They will only result in the same results for you. And those results bring you here. That's why you're here with me. And I'm with you because although I don't hoard, I accept my imperfections in many ways. Okay. And I understand, truly understand, especially after 20 years working with people and their families. I understand the struggle you're having. All right. So another thing I want you to start doing, because it's really important to catching yourself. So my frickin' frack, that little discussion they had on my shoulders causes a reaction that I understand and I am aware of. So it's like here. Well, it's kind of like here. And, oh no. Where does your body hold the awareness that you need? Where does it hold? It's individual to each one of you. Where are you aware of where that awareness first registers? What form does it take? Now, for some people, they get a headache. For some people, they get a buzzing in their ears. For some people, they feel like they're choking. For some people, they feel like they can't get their breath. Other people, they have a knot in their stomach. Other people, it's their intestines. Other people find themselves tapping. All right. What form does that awareness take for you? Are you aware? How many people here are aware of where that first bud of awareness registers in your body? One of our participants said sometimes Frack is not talking at all. That's true. Frick might have put a Band-Aid across his mouth. Construction tape. Yeah. What form does it take? All right. Is it some form of anxiety? Is that trigger anxiety? It might if you're more susceptible to anxiety. All right. It might. Is it tension? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your head? Is it in your chest? Is it in your gut? Do you find your hands clenching? Okay. Or does this awareness, if you avoid it, all right, like I did when I kept hitting the button, one more, because it's going to be a long season. Okay. Does it result in some form? You don't have to be obsessive compulsive to have obsessive or compulsive reactions to things. You don't have to. All right. But does it play out somewhere on that spectrum? What does that mean? What does that mean for you? And will you give yourself permission to love yourself enough to catch it at that point? Because it was when I got the old, oh no, right here, just below my breastbone. Oh no, that's my point that triggers, uh-oh, not a good thing. And before that, I kind of got a feeling here as I was hitting button number 4 and 5. This may not be where you want to go. All right. Okay. Did I listen to it here? No, but I know that if it ever gets here, I have to act on it because it's a whopper. It's going to take me completely off course. Where is yours? And will you promise yourself that regardless of whether it's lemon squares or whatever it is, especially over this tremendously emotionally loaded season, all right, we call it different names in different religions and cultures, all right? It's emotionally loaded, good and bad, all right? All right. Will you promise yourself that you will listen so that you give your version of frack a chance to help you out and make a better decision that you don't have to regret? Because it can play out as in buying, acquiring by some other means, the buy nothing groups. Oh man. Or keeping something, making yourself feel less secure about letting something go that you really know you've been talking to yourself about, and you don't need it. You don't particularly even want it. You're keeping it there as some kind of insurance in order to make yourself feel safe, just in case. What's the just in case about? Is the just in case that you're not allowed to make mistakes? That giving away this thing or letting it go or sharing it would somehow change the course of your life? It would be irretrievable. It would be irreplaceable if you found out, because that's going to happen. That's going to happen. I mean, I've only done this for 20 years, and I can't tell you the number of times. There probably have been half a dozen times in my life when I've given something away and thought, oh, darn, I need the darn thing. And you know what I make my sense be about it? Isn't that the irony of life? Isn't that the irony of life? Okay. Who has one that I can borrow? Because obviously I don't need it very often. All right. Who has one I can borrow? What could I agree to lend them in return? I work it out. You can work it out, whatever it is. Okay. Also, is that awareness or feeling that you get, is it limiting you in some way? When you overbuy, overacquire, overgive. Oh, it's Boxing Day. I'm going to buy Christmas presents for next year that I probably won't find, or I may fall in love with. It's a deal. I'm never going to get it at that price again. It's a deal. It is not a deal if you're buying it on credit. It is not a deal if you're dipping into disposable income that you have. It is not a deal. It's only a deal if 6 months ago you were saying to yourself, God darn it, I need this. And as soon as it goes on a half decent price, I'm going to get it because it does actually improve my life. Another little personal story, and I don't hoard. All right. I am fighting the urge to get an air fryer. Do I need an air fryer? No, I don't cook. Somebody else cooks in the house. And he tells me the Pro stove we have with 2 ovens, okay, and that little thing that you turn on and it doesn't heat, but it heats water fast. I don't even know the name of it. Apparently it's a genius. He tells me we don't need it, Elaine. We don't need it. And I'm thinking, yeah, but but am I going to get it? No, I'm not going to get it. But I'm going to still be tempted. It's going to feel like, for some reason, it feels like a really good idea. Every time somebody says, oh, don't you have an air fryer? All right. What's your version of that? Because this is a season that people run rampant. Black Friday and Boxing Day. Okay. Right now, do yourself a favor. Right now, take out a pen or a pencil and paper. All right. And write down the things that you know you absolutely need. Write those down. And if you're buying it on credit, unless it supports life, all right, like a CPAP machine, for instance, okay, like new brakes on your car, something you absolutely need, write it down now. And if it isn't on that list, no matter what price it is, even if you've got money coming out your ears, all right, you've got the right to be in charge of your own impulses, because this, giving into this, will pave the way for you giving into something else that is not good for you. And if it isn't on the list, right below that list you just wrote, write, don't need this. Don't need this. If I need this, I will resist the urge. And you know what? If I need it, if I truly need it, I'll pay full price for it later. That'll be an acid test of whether you really need it or not. I do that with myself all the time, and I don't hoard. Okay? Give yourself a way to make yourself accountable, because some of the awarenesses are feelings that we limit ourselves with. And you limit yourself when you give in. You do. And you set yourself up for habituating something that is not going to play out well in many other ways. So the other thing I want you to ask yourself is, what am I concerned might be the likely outcome of this awareness? So say it's conflict. It's drawing boundaries and limits. Somebody just, on 2 glasses of wine becomes a jerk. Or somebody they are part of who you're going, the small group you're going to gather with and it all right? And they just take up all the time and space and air in the room. And you feel like something, like an object, all right? And you come away feeling, or is there somebody who just has that interesting way of making you feel bad about yourself and your life? And they're so helpful. And they only have your best interests at heart. And if they didn't care, they wouldn't. Okay, sometimes people come from an aspect of being concerned about you or loving you, or, you know what? If it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good. You're capable of those same awarenesses. If it's a trusted friend and you think, oh, that wasn't good news, that's different. All right. What are you concerned might be the likely outcome of actually acknowledging and being aware? Okay. So, in what you already have, what are the benefits of keeping something? Is it repeating the old behavior? What are the benefits of letting go or trying another considered choice other than buying and keeping? Or keeping things that you really want to clear out. You want that area back for quality of life. What are the drawbacks of keeping? What are the drawbacks of letting go? And do that pro and con. Pro of keeping, pro of letting go. Drawback of keeping, drawback of letting go. Because that's one of the best ways to do that internal inquiry, by putting yourself on pause. All right? Putting yourself on pause and developing. You don't have it probably right at hand. All right? Developing a considered alternative option. Because when you go on automatic default, or you go on disappear rather than acknowledgement, and you let somebody mistreat you, even mentally, physically, emotionally, being in a fog, being sort of in a dissociative, disconnected state to get through something, I personally would choose the bathroom. I personally would go and sit on the side of the tub and think, okay, when I hear that they've wound down, or every so often, if I just needed a break, if I had to be there, if I had to be with somebody, and they were like that, and then go back and find the loving, accepting, acknowledging, worthy person. What are my options? Okay. I strongly suggest the third glass of wine is never a good idea. All right, never a good idea. What can I do? I could develop stomach problems and have to go home. I could bring earplugs with me and just say I have an earache. I could do all kinds of creative things. Have some fun with it. Okay, have some fun with it. I could just walk into the bathroom, lean over the sink into the mirror and go, really? Really? Again this year? There must be something better that or I could have a talk with them. Say, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going there. Okay, this is my holiday too. So internal inquiry allows us to do what? That awareness, to assume responsibility for our own reactions. All right? Because it gives us that inquiry phase. And Hafs is going to bring up a handout that if anybody wants it, I will mail it out to you. I'll email it out to you. It gives us a strategy to talk through things with ourselves first and figure out what we want to say and what we don't want to say. All right. Why? Okay. So it is to remember what our baseline is, what our goal is, what our desire is. So I'm going to can everybody see the screen share? Yes? Can you see it? Nod if you can. Okay, good. All right. So I call this the bubbles. Top event, something happens. All right, something happens. The first thing you're going to have is you're going to have a thought about it. You're going to have a reaction. You're going to have a sensation or a reaction or a feeling, a thought. Usually a thought comes like, oh no, oh no. All right. Or if it's a positive, yay. From thoughts, if you can practice putting yourself on pause at the thought stage, don't let yourself go to feelings. Don't let yourself go to physical sensations. So if I had caught this right here, that awareness, all right, that, oh, Elaine, they're lemon. Elaine. And I hadn't listened to Frick rather, okay? I hadn't listened to Frick. I wouldn't have slipped through thoughts and gone to feelings and physical sensations, because that's what took me like a freight train to behavior and outcome. Now I'm aware, and so I was able to reverse the arrows. But there's an event. You have a thought or an automatic something usually. I want you to divert yourself over to the side bubbles. All right. This is what I want you to ask yourself. What is the problem? What is the true problem here? What is the true event? What is true about the event? Maybe that's a better way to put it. How did it develop? Well, it developed because I was having a craving and I was on Amazon buying gifts for people who I want and need to present a gift to. And I did a sidestep. How did it develop? I did the sidestep. When did it develop? It developed when I opened something that was nice for somebody else, and there was a trigger. There was something else in the people who buy this also buy this. All right. And there were Atkins things. There were getting fit things. And I thought, oh, Christmas is coming. How did it get maintained? It got maintained because I bought into it. How do you maintain? What are you doing to maintain this? What in the environment, in the context of this event is maintaining it? Maybe a lot of people are saying the same thing and doing the same thing and proposing the same thing, but it isn't something that you need or want. Here's a biggie. What prevents the resolution of whatever is a problem about that event? Because you won't be doing this if it's a dead cert positive. All right. So what prevents this thing from being resolved, this event? Could be conflict. All right. At a Christmas gathering, at a New Year's gathering. What? Because we are the only factor in any event, in any circumstance that we can control. And sometimes even that control is a little shaky. You cannot control the other person. You cannot control the context of the event. Give that one up. All right. You can influence, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it a little later on. What prevents resolution? What of my thoughts, ideas, beliefs, fears support this event? What part do I play in keeping it going or allowing it, which is still keeping it going? What reactions do I have, am I having with my thoughts? Because I've got a second thought, which was the Elaine, not good. Didn't listen to it right away though. Feelings. I felt entitled. I felt like, I felt competent. I felt capable. I can only have one, knowing perfectly well that 2 other times I've ordered them, I have not had one, and I've actually had to throw them away to avoid something that is so tempting to me. Who knew lemons could do that to a person? And physically, what are my physical responses? Because as soon as, here's what I want you to realize, as soon as you go beyond, you don't stop yourself at thoughts, as soon as you don't stop yourself at thoughts, you have all of the physical response, the feelings, your whole emotional, physical complement is pressing down on what behavior choice options you are going to give yourself. Those physical sensations, the emotional sensations, they just sort out anything that gets in the way. And if it's not a considered decision, if it's not a considered relationship with this event, it's probably not a behavior choice that is your best and that you won't regret. All right. So once you get into the realm of your physical reactions, your emotional reactions and response, you've pretty much fast-tracked a limited range of behavior choices. And that will heavily, 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 exponentially heavily influence the outcome and therefore the meaning to you. So what would have been the meaning, the outcome, if I hadn't cut it off? If I hadn't worked really, really hard for a very long time to develop that awareness, what would have happened? I would have 5 boxes of lemon squares sitting in the kitchen. All right. What would the meaning have been? It would have been, yay, but only for a very short time. Because probably my response to those, because it is a vulnerability for me, all right, would have been, oh, and stepping on the scale and being accountable would not have been the highlight of my Christmas season. All right. And it might even have led to other unwise, unproductive choices. Well, you've blown it anyway. You might as well blow it right out your left ear. All right. Oh, start over. All right. Starting over is a good thing. It isn't a good thing if it is part of your strategy. Oh, I don't have to. I don't have to learn. I don't have to be aware. I don't have to acknowledge. I don't have to accept. I can always start over. Remember that starting over means that every time you're at the beginning of whatever that phase was, and you could have been further along. Okay, thanks, Hafsa. All right, so if anybody wants that handout, email me and we'll send you a copy of it, because it's a really good thing to have in miniature form in your pocket. Okay, it's a really good thing. And it's a really good thing to take shopping. It's a really good thing to open up at the same time you open up the Buy Nothing group. All right. Whatever your vulnerability, books, whatever your vulnerabilities are, they're personal to you. And you will remain vulnerable to those things. So you need to be aware. You need to develop acute ability for pretty fast awareness. Then you need to acknowledge the truth. It is the truth, Elaine. You are never going to be, you are always going to be an easy sell for anything lemon. All right. And acceptance. I know that about myself. All right. I know that about myself. What do you know about yourself? And it could be choices you make where you come home from gatherings. Hopefully they're very small. And you don't feel good. You feel like, well, the first sensation in your head when somebody's brother-in-law starts is, here we go again. Here we go again. And there's only so much tolerance and acceptance. I strongly suggest the bathroom. All right. If it's a family gathering and you really can't get out of it, the bathroom can become your best friend. All right. Because you can go in there, you can give yourself a timeout, you can develop another option. Okay. So when we do this, we become more able to drive the bus to the destinations we actually want to go to. I'm not going to, but I'm saying us. I want to go to a family gathering and I want to come away from it feeling at a minimum neutral, like it was good to be there. All right. It wasn't the answer to world peace, but it was good to be there. And I didn't come away feeling judged, criticized, whatever. It's okay when somebody takes you on and, say, I don't really like that hairstyle. Say, well, what I do, because I am Irish and I have fun with things internally. My internal life is a comedy. My first thing that I say to myself internally is, I don't remember asking you. All right. Occasionally, I've been provoked actually saying that out loud. It does stop it. It has side effects, however. All right. So, what is your, yeah, so, and what is your, but I'm having way too much fun in my head with this. What is your okay response? What is it? All right. What is it? You've got it in there. What is true for you that you can live with? It achieves enough of what you need, and it doesn't seriously alienate. It just stops them dead in their tracks. All right. What is it? Write it down now. What is it? What is it that you are not looking forward to or you're concerned about in the weeks coming up in this season? Because this season is sort of the pinnacle of what we put up with the rest of the year. It's like a whole lot of physical and emotional sensations, events kind of get gathered into one enormous pillar. And it's an intense experience of what we put up with that just kind of erodes those boundaries and limits that we are entitled to. You're worth being treated with dignity. If you don't want to say that, it's perfectly okay to say, interesting. I'm really not open to suggestions. Or what else? What else can you say? You can get up and go in another room. Maybe the bathroom. Maybe there's more than one person who's going to be at the event who's here and the bathroom's going to be busy. There'll be a lineup at the bathroom. You can go outside for a breath of fresh air. All right. Whatever you use now that is not constructive and you are worth more than, that is the thing you are not going to do. That is the thing you are not going to do. So another piece of homework I'm going to give you is between now and whatever the event is that is looming in your mind, all right, what are you going to do this year? An example for in my life, I believe in walking the talk, is, as you all know, this will not be the happiest Christmas in recorded history. And I became aware of it quite a few weeks ago. I acknowledged it in my heart. All right. I've accepted it. But have I accepted the limits? No. I am Zooming everybody who is in England, who is in Germany, who is in BC. I'm Zooming everybody Christmas Eve as a setup. And I have invited 3 other people so that we can stay under 10, 3 other people who are going to have a terrible Christmas as well, because maybe it's the anniversary of a loss. And so none of us have to pretend. I've warned my husband, I've warned John, who lives with us. Okay, this is not going to be a typical Christmas. So if it turns not typical, I won't ruin it for anybody, but I just want you to know. All right. And so they're coming for part of the day and they're staying for dinner. And I bought them little presents so that they've got something to look forward to. That was the Amazon thing. Because they're not going to be getting a present or acknowledgement from who they miss. All right. And one of the people who I'm is a client who I'm particularly concerned about. Nobody wants her life right now. She doesn't want her life right now. I'm not saying she's suicidal. I'm just saying it's horrible. She can't face being with other people. So I told John, get a 25-pound turkey. And I'm going to bring her Christmas dinner, so that she may not be with people. That's not something she feels she needs right now, but she will have something to look forward to. Because isn't that what, you don't care what's under the tree, right? You just care that you were remembered. You just care that in somebody else's eyes, and apparently, I'm probably the most likely candidate right now. The other people who truly love her can't be with her. They can't be with her. And so give that to somebody. Give that. That is something you have to give. Okay, you not have to give, but everybody here has that. Give it to somebody. Give acknowledgement. Give, you are remembered and you do matter. All right. Who's not going to have that this year? Is there anybody you know who's not going to have that this year? There must be a host of people, given COVID and the fact that the numbers have just been lowered. And how can you do it? The best I can do to England and Germany, all right, is Zoom. All right. You are remembered and you matter. You are worthy. And let other people do it for you as well. All right. Because if you don't, the alternative is you get dragged along behind whatever the event is that is looming, and your old response, feeling powerless. The key to emotional strength is personal freedom. Give it to yourself. You are the only one who can set yourself free. I am the only one who could set myself free of what this Christmas was going to be. This Christmas being an expression of tremendous loss. All right? I am the only one. I have personal freedom. I have personal responsibility to come up with options that work for me, that other people in this case are open to. But it starts with personal responsibility. If I sat there and waited for somebody else to think of it, or somebody else to give me something, it wouldn't have been what I needed. I will accept anything that people want to give me, short of abuse, in the way of contact or whatever. All right. But I'm the only one who knows what I really need. You are the only one who knows what you really need. All right? You are the only one. Settle for nothing less. Give it to yourself. Construct events so that you get enough of what you need to make the difference for yourself. Because it's based on the truth. All right? That we are aware of who we are. And we are the only part of that situation that we have any control over. But when we change, even on a trial run, remember I've been talking to you about do little trial experiments of options. How did that work? How well did that work? When we do that, we actually influence, we don't change the environment around us. Why? Because then the environment and the other pieces, they must change. They have to change if we change. At least adapt, alter, because they need, for an event to remain active, it has to adapt to the differences we make. If you behave differently, the environment will be changed. You change the environment because it must adapt to you. So when somebody says something, because they just have to put somebody down, or if there's anybody who's undercutting, or there's anybody who lovingly is criticizing and offering advice, all right? When you say whatever it is that, I mean, I have 100 things here, most of them funny. Okay. Humor can be very disarming. You want to know the situation and the person very well, though, before you pull out humor, because it can really backfire. All right. What are you going to say that's going to make the difference? They, even for a moment, they go, what? And then you know what? You've put the event and any participants who are willing players in that event you don't relish, you put them on notice. Woo. And so can they resist the urge? Who knows? All right. And if it becomes uncontrollable, all right, I hear a lot of people are going to be in events where somebody drinks, all right, and they give themselves permission to do things that they wouldn't normally take and they won't take responsibility if that's their option. It's okay to say, well, I'm pretty tired. I think I'll call it a night. If all you can do is withdraw, withdraw. They're giving you a ride home. Have you heard of Uber? Just make sure you're double masked. Wear gloves, completely bathe in solution. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Go and wipe yourself down all over with whatever that hand sanitizer. Take an Uber home. All right. Don't put up with it. We may not be able to change events, but we can change our response to them by asking all those questions on that handout. Okay, now remember that based on the physical responses and our emotional response, that will heavily weight what the behavior is that you choose. All right, you really limit your options. So try to keep those open, assume goodwill, but still draw the boundaries. Otherwise, we just keep pulling into the same station, and it isn't where we wanted to get in life. Rerouting us, all right, ending up way far away from where we need to be. Catch yourself at the thoughts line. Go over and do the self-inquiry. You may be doing it in the bathroom, sitting on the tub. That's okay. All right. You can do it now, because it's not like you're thinking of something that hasn't previously happened and you feel is more likely than not. Because when we do that self-inquiry and we come out of ourselves accepting, lovingly, compassionately, worthy, right? We are then allowing ourselves to be influenced, not restricted, but influenced by considered behavior. Okay? And so, what else do I want to tell you? I want to tell you, I hope that you have a wonderful season. I hope that somebody is good to you. But most of all, I hope that you're good to yourself first. And additionally, hey, would it hurt to have 2 hits of good? No, it wouldn't. Anyway, I'm Christian, so Merry Christmas, and I will see you next week. Yes, there will be a podcast between Christmas and New Year's. You take care, everybody. I send love your way. I send hope for all good things your way. Okay, and you're part of making it happen. Take care, everybody. I'll be thinking about you.